Hello everyone, welcome to the reading. This reading will be for Tom Cruise. So this is my first reading I ever did for him, so I'm going to check out his personality. Who is he as a person? What can I see? What can be shown? Let's see. Who is Tom Cruise as a person? That's a good question. Alright. Wow, this is very, very deep, right? Because this man, he's definitely clever. He's definitely clever. But the crow, it symbolizes the occult. So this man, he's definitely attached to the occult. You know what I mean? So that's definitely a huge part of his personality, believe it or not. Like, that's the side that people don't get to see. Very interesting. This tenacious tiger. This guy has a personality that you can't really, like, he doesn't change. He doesn't adapt. You know what I mean? You can't change a tiger's stripes. So it applies to this man as well. You know what I mean? He's caught in his habits. And I'm getting a vibe intuitively that he's always been that way. This isn't something that developed over time. This guy, he was stuck in his ways since he was a kid. And that's what I'm picking up. So this man, he's definitely stuck in his ways, whatever his ways are. But yeah, you can't sway him. He's not open to hearing anyone's opinions on, like, changing how he does things. He's very set in his ways. So then, let's see what this deck shows. What can we see about this guy, Tom Cruise's personality? This is going to be an interesting reading for sure, because I don't know anything of him. Okay, so that flipped out. This has to do with his emotion because the card is face down. So let's see. This Seven of Pentacles. This is an interesting situation because usually the Seven of Pentacles speaks of, like, a well-dressed lady. You know what I mean? It also speaks of nobility. It speaks of nobility. You know what I mean? Kind of like aristocrats and all that shit. So this guy, he definitely has sort of like an aristocratic nature to himself. You know what I mean? I'm getting this has to do with his lineage as well. This is something that people do not know of him. You know what I mean? Maybe it's out there, maybe it's not. Again, I don't know anything of this man, but this is what's coming to me intuitively, that this man, he has some aristocratic connections. And it's really interesting, right? Because he was, you know, at the celebrations that they're having in the UK for the Queen and all of that. So it's interesting that, you know, he was a part of that situation. You know what I mean? I don't know, like, how deep the role he played in it, but it's funny, though, that he was, like, one of the attractions for that whole situation. So very interesting. It's shown me that he definitely has some blood connections with that whole lifestyle. You know what I mean? This is showing me he wants that to come out more, because again, it is like it has to do with his personality, and the fact that the card was upside down was showing that it has to do with his emotions, but it's also a hidden aspect. You know what I mean? It's a lot to this man that's hidden regarding his personality, regarding his bloodline, regarding his connections. And the interesting thing is that he wants it to be out there, but for whatever reason, it really can't be. Let's see what this deck shows. Very fascinating shit. Slow and steady. This guy, right? He definitely plans for the future. This is definitely an energy of planning for the future. This is an energy of planning for, like, decades. You know what I mean? For, like, the normal person, planning something for, like, the next 5 months, 6 months is a lifetime. But it's showing me that this man, he can literally wait, like, 20 years worth of planning, and he's fine with that. Very interesting, you know what I mean, with the slow and steady energy. He's very meticulous. Very fascinating. This time apart, boundaries, no contact, give me space. He doesn't like to deal with people. He gets overwhelmed. He's like, stay away from me. You know what I mean? Very fascinating. He doesn't like people within his energy. He doesn't like to invest in other people's energies, is what I'm seeing. You know what I mean? This applies to fans, family. You know, intuitively, that's what I'm picking up. He just doesn't really like to deal with people. It's like, it's cool when he's doing things with people, but, you know, after it's all said and done, he's like, yo, don't contact me, do not bother me. He's one of those personalities. So fascinating. This fitness, cosmetic surgery, and body modification, he's very consumed with his appearance. This is really funny, right? Because I don't know much of this dude, you know, but from what I see in passing, these energies definitely apply. Like, from the little bit that I do know, like, this is very interesting because there's rumors of him having plastic surgery, you know what I mean, getting Botox, having some work done. You know, let me just say, because I could tell this reading is getting really deep, this is all allegedly and for entertainment purposes only. I have to say that for YouTube reasons. Excuse me, I'm going to adjust myself for a second. All right. So yeah, this is definitely interesting, you know what I mean? He's definitely consumed with how he appears, how he looks. So, you know, he has some vanity, but, you know, it's not bad, right? It is what it is. But very fascinating. That's his personality. Now then, there's no set questions, so I'm curious to see what type of love does this guy attract as far as his love life? Like, what happens in his love life? Because it seems that he's unfortunate in his love life. I don't know who he's with now, but let me just get like an energy of the history of what type of love he attracts in his life, what comes to him. So let's see what pops up. With this Ace of Pentacles, he definitely deals with opportunists. This is definitely an opportunist. Not just that. The females that he attracts, they're concerned with his money. You know what I mean? That's what they really want. You know what I mean? His money, his influence in the world. You see these high-ass skyscrapers? It has to do with your standing in life. You know what I mean? What you bring to the table. Not just that, but he's the same way too, though. Believe it or not. That's what I'm picking up. It's kind of just like two sides to the same coin. So what's being shown to me is that he wants ladies to have their own wealth, to have their own money. You know what I mean? He doesn't really want to mess with like a broke female. You know, he wants a female to have their own standing in life, to have their own resources, which isn't bad, you know. But that's what he attracts. Let's see, what else does he attract? But I was definitely getting vibes of like gold diggers and whatnot. It's funny because this is a deep energy. He wants a traditional family with this traditions. You know what I mean? Not just that. The females want the same thing as well, but I was getting an energy of grief. I was definitely picking up an energy of grief. So it's kind of just like, this is an old-fashioned energy. You know what I mean? This is a situation with old-fashioned beliefs. This is what he attracts in his situation. It's kind of just like the female want him to do all the work, you know what I mean? And kind of like provide. And he's cool with that, but I'm getting an energy of conflict. So it's kind of just like, yeah, this is what they both want. But again, it's an energy of conflict. Let me see what this deck shows. Again, what was I telling you? It was a situation to do with money, right? Kind of like gold digging energy. And if you look at this, the Four of Pentacles. And you know what I say, when a card comes out sideways, it shows that the energies are off. They're not good. You know what I mean? This also represents being selfish, the Four of Pentacles. Very interesting. This is giving me some deep energy, right? Because I was telling you that, yeah, he wants a traditional situation. But it was like a conflict with that, right? Because he wants a traditional situation, but what's being shown to me is that he's a selfish man. So it's deep, because, you know, yeah, like a lot of these females are gold diggers. I mean, you know, it is what it is. What person, you know what I mean? Because I'm assuming the females he be with are like actresses, and they're supposed to be like pretty and all that. So why would they want to be with a broke dude? But what's being shown to me is that he's selfish. This is a selfish man. He's definitely selfish. Not just that, I'm getting an energy of like a loner. He's definitely a loner, and he's definitely selfish. So what ends up happening is it creates a conflict. Because yeah, the females that he actually attracts, they're actually traditional females, believe it or not. They want the whole traditional lifestyle. They like being a housewife, whatever. But what's being shown to me is that he's selfish. So even though he attracts what he wants as far as them being traditional, the conflict comes because he's a selfish man. He's definitely a selfish man. So that's what ends up happening with his situation. It's kind of like an energy of self-sabotage. You know what I mean? He sabotages the situation with his selfishness. It is what it is. Very fascinating, actually. Very insightful. Now then, let me see what's currently going on with his work situation, his work life. Like, you know what I mean? His career. What's happening with that? Well, he's aging. He's definitely aging. You know what I mean? If you look at this visual, because this is definitely a visual message with this particular card. He's old, but he looks back a lot. You know what I mean? He's kind of just like, damn, how come I can't be younger? Not just that, he felt like he was in a better standing when he was younger. Now he feels old. He feels dusty. He feels like he's in the sidelines, because if you know anything about like cleaners and all of that shit, they operate behind the scenes, you know what I mean? Like they don't receive attention, you know. It's funny too, because the energies I'm getting is he feels like he doesn't receive gratitude, you know, because cleaners, they don't necessarily receive gratitude. So that's what's going on in his career. He feels like he's in the twilight sort of stage of his career, that it's coming to an end. Very fascinating. Let's see what else is going on with his career. It's interesting too, right? Before I get to this face down card, because it has to do with his emotions. No one wants to be the maid or the cleaner, right? Like, you obviously know that. So it's funny, he's taking roles and he's in positions that he's not happy with. That's what else is being shown to me. Like, it's like, yeah, he still has employment, he still has work, but he's not satisfied with the work. You know what I mean? That's why he's like daydreaming and fantasizing. You know, again, he's a vain man. He wants to be young. So very fascinating. Let's see what this face down card shows. Let's show you off trophy wife accomplishments and status. This is really deep because this has to do with his emotion, right? He's planning to be with the female, kind of like, I don't know who he's with, you know what I mean? For all I know, this man could be married. I don't know his situation, but what's being shown to me is that he wants a Hollywood arranged relationship, you know? So even if he is with someone, he's not satisfied with the relationship. What's being shown to me is he wants someone that he can show off to, so he can receive attention, is what I'm seeing. So, I mean, this is a very deep situation. Not just that, he feels like it'll help his career. He feels like he's not popping at the moment. He feels old, he feels dusty. So he's like, yo, I need some new blood, you know what I mean, to make me relevant. That's what's actually going through his mind, because again, the card was face down. So this is what his emotions are, what he's thinking. You know what I mean? Very fascinating situation. So that's what he's currently going through as far as his career. Let me see. What type of father is he? That's a good question. I know he has a daughter. I don't know if he has any other kids, to be honest with you. This Knight of Pentacles, this isn't a good situation. I'm going to be honest with you guys. Again, these images are for messages, you know what I mean? So the definitions don't always apply. As far as his daughter, he's trying to get his daughter into some shady shit. You know what I mean? He's definitely trying to get his daughter into some shady shit. You know what I mean? He's a bad influence. You know, not just that. I'm getting like, you know, the Trojan horse. You know how like it was seen as something that was good, but really what was inside that horse was death. You know what I mean? It was kind of just like a deceitful situation. You know, if you guys know history or mythology, you guys know about the whole Trojan horse. If you don't, Google it, because it's definitely relevant to this situation. Because it's like, You would think he loved his daughter because he's advising her. He's trying to get her involved in shady practices and means. He's like, yo, this is what's going to be good for your life. But again, it's not a good situation because the Trojan horse, you know what I mean? All it is death, suffering, and deceit. Let's see what else. This Two of Pentacles, this is very interesting. I actually was picking up the energies with this particular card, but I have to say it now because I didn't say it because I couldn't necessarily prove it with this card, but I definitely can with this card. This man, I don't know. It's not looking too good, right? Because this is an altar. And you know what you do to altars, right? Like what you do with that shit. You make sacrifices, So, I mean, you know, read in between the lines, you know? I don't want to be too harsh, but, you know, it's showing me that this man, he would sacrifice his daughter in a heartbeat to improve his standing in life, in the world, you know? And it was funny because at the start of the reading, he was showing me that he's into the occult. And that doesn't necessarily mean bad, you know what I mean? Because some people would say tarot is the occult, you know what I mean? But what I meant is like the occult cult, you know what I mean? That's that deep shit. So what's being shown to me is that, I don't know, him as a father, he's a shady father, you know what I mean? He's a shady father. And he would definitely sacrifice his daughter. And let me just say, because of YouTube, I have to say that this is all allegedly and for entertainment purposes only. You know, I have to say that because of YouTube, but you guys know what the energies are. It's real. So, I mean, him as a father, it's not looking too good. You know what I mean? This man, he's not a good dude. You know what I mean? He's not a good dude at all. You see, like, because this is like him advising his daughter to get caught up in some fuck shit that'll destroy her. And it's just him here, you know what I mean? Between these pillars, which symbolizes an altar. So, I mean, it is what it is. Yeah. Should I leave it here? Or I'm actually going to leave it here. I felt like this reading was actually really insightful. Definitely, guys, tell me what you thought of it. You know what I mean? If you liked the reading or found it interesting, definitely press the thumbs up button. I appreciate it. And peace and abundance to all. Expect more content in the future. And I might cover him a bit more in the future. You know what I mean? This is just a taste of what it is. Thanks again.